Hong Kong, Kowloon District, Golden Harvest Studios, Sound Stage 2. It is August 1973, a Thursday morning at exactly 9 a.m., and the film set is alive with the hum of controlled chaos. 40 crew members move with a singular sense of purpose. Camera operators are adjusting heavy equipment, lighting technicians are positioning massive studio lights on metal stands, and the sound crew is running thick cables across the cold concrete floor, taping them down with bright yellow tape. Assistant directors with clipboards are frantically checking schedules, while makeup artists stand by with powder and touch-up kits. In the corners of the stage, extras in period costumes wait in small groups, rehearsing their scenes quietly. This is the set of Enter the Dragon, the film that will soon make Bruce Lee a global icon and change martial arts cinema forever. But right now, in this moment of production, it is just another day of grueling, high-pressure work. Bruce Lee is the undisputed star, but his role extends far beyond acting. He is the fight choreographer, the philosophical consultant, and often the de facto director during action sequences. Every movement on that screen must be authentic. Every fight scene must be perfect. Bruce knows this is his chance to show the entire world what real martial arts looks like when captured on film. He is 32 years old, at the peak of his physical power and creative vision. In less than 2 months, he will be gone, but nobody on this set knows that yet. Not Bruce, not the crew, and certainly not the young stuntman who is about to make a mistake that will alter the trajectory of his life. That young man's name is Jackie Chan. At 19 years old, he is a whirlwind of energy, possessing a small but incredibly athletic frame. He has been working in Hong Kong action films since he was a child, a son of a stuntman trained in the rigorous Peking Opera School. He knows acrobatics, he knows tumbling, and he knows how to fall in a way that looks spectacular for the camera. He is undeniably talented, perhaps more so than anyone else in the stunt pool, but he is also 19. And 19-year-old men often have far more confidence than they have wisdom. Jackie has been on this set for 2 weeks, working as a background performer, taking hard falls on the unforgiving concrete floor. It is hot, painful, and repetitive work. Bruce Lee demands perfection, and if a scene doesn't look right, they do it again and again. Jackie has performed some falls 15 times in a single morning. His body is covered in bruises, but he doesn't complain. This is how you earn your place. However, something has been building inside him during these 2 weeks. A frustration is simmering, a sense that his true skills are being overlooked. He watches the way everyone treats Bruce with a reverence that borders on the religious. He watches the producers stand back and let Bruce dictate every frame. And in his youthful arrogance, Jackie thinks to himself, I can do what Bruce does. My acrobatics are more spectacular. My flips are higher. My flips are higher. My falls are more dramatic. Bruce is fast, yes, but I am flashy. And in the movies, flashy is what matters. This morning, the crew is setting up for the fight scene in the mirror room, the iconic sequence where Bruce will face multiple opponents in a labyrinth of glass. It is a complex setup requiring precise choreography and difficult camera angles. Bruce is deep in consultation with the stunt coordinator, planning the flow of the fight and determining exactly where the camera will catch the impact. Jackie is part of the stunt team for this specific scene. He is one of the men Bruce is supposed to defeat quickly. It is a small role, a fleeting moment on screen, but Jackie is determined to make it memorable. He has been practicing a series of moves he thinks will look amazing, moves Bruce hasn't instructed him to do, but moves Jackie believes will elevate the scene from good to breathtaking. During a brief break between setups, Jackie sees his opportunity. Bruce is reviewing choreography notes, his mind completely focused on the logistics of the next shot. Jackie approaches him, tapping him on the shoulder. Sefu, Jackie says in Chinese, using the term of respect for a senior actor. I have some ideas for this fight scene. Acrobatic moves that I think will make the sequence much more exciting for the audience. Bruce looks up, his dark eyes assessing the young man with a quiet, intense attention. He doesn't show hostility, only a professional curiosity. What kind of moves? Bruce asks. Jackie doesn't wait to explain. He immediately demonstrates a perfect backflip, followed by a cartwheel and a spinning jump kick, all executed with the flawless form of a master acrobat. It is the kind of performance that would make a theater audience gasp in theater, When Jackie finishes, landing perfectly on the concrete floor, he is slightly out of breath but wearing a satisfied smile. He looks at Bruce, waiting for the approval he is certain is coming. Bruce nods slowly, acknowledging the physical feat. "Very good technique," he says. "Very athletic." Jackie's smile widens, thinking he has just earned a promotion in the choreography. But then Bruce continues, his voice calm but firm. "But this is not a Peking opera performance, Jackie. This is a fight scene. These moves you are showing me look good, but they are not efficient. They are not realistic. In a real fight, you would never do a backflip. It wastes precious time. It exposes your back to your opponent. It gives them an opportunity to end you." Jackie's smile fades instantly. His pride is touched. He has spent his entire life mastering these techniques, and to have them dismissed so easily by the man he seeks to emulate feels like a slap in the face. A heat rises in his chest, a mixture of wounded ego and youthful defiance. "With respect, Safu," Jackie says, the words coming out before he can think. "Maybe in a real street fight your way is better. But in movies, my moves are more impressive. They are more exciting. People pay to see spectacle, and that is what makes an action film successful." The sound stage suddenly goes quiet. The low hum of conversation among the 40 crew members dies away as heads turn toward the center of the room. A young stuntman has just challenged Bruce Lee. He didn't just offer an opinion. He essentially told the master of the craft that his methods were less than ideal for the medium. Even Jackie realizes the weight of what he has said the moment the words leave his lips. But it is too late to pull them back. Bruce sets down his choreography notes. He stands up and walks toward Jackie. His movement is not aggressive. It is calm and controlled, but there is an intensity in his eyes that makes Jackie's stomach tighten. Bruce stops exactly 3 feet in front of him. "You think your moves are more impressive than mine?" Bruce asks. His voice is quiet, yet the acoustics of the soundstage carry the question to every ear in the room. Jackie swallows hard. His mouth feels dry as a desert. "I meant for the camera," he stammered. "For entertainment." Bruce raises a hand, cutting him off gently. "Show me then. Show me and show everyone here your most impressive move, the one you are most proud of." Jackie hesitates. This is not how he envisioned his morning going. The director has paused work. The lighting technicians are leaning off their stands, and the entire stunt team is watching. If he backs down now, he will lose face permanently. He will be known as the kid who talked big and shrank away. So, driven by 19-year-old pride, he decides to double down. He takes a running start across the concrete floor, launches into a front flip, rotates mid-air, and lands in a perfect split position before springing back up into a high, spinning kick. It is a flawless execution. The crew murmurs in genuine appreciation. It was a spectacular display of athleticism. Jackie lands, breathing harder now, but satisfied that he has proven his point. Bruce nods again. "Very impressive," he says. "Beautiful technique. Now I will show you something." Bruce does not move from where he is standing. He does not take a running start. He does not even seem to prepare his muscles for an explosion of energy. He simply stands there, relaxed. Then, in a motion so fast that most people on the set cannot even track it with their eyes, Bruce moves. His body shifts forward like a blur of light. One moment he is in front of Jackie, and the next he is standing behind him. His open palm is touching the back of Jackie's neck. There is no force, no strike, just a gentle contact of skin against skin. Jackie freezes. He didn't see him move. He didn't hear a footstep. It was as if Bruce had simply vanished and reappeared in a more dominant position. Bruce steps back and returns to his original spot, speaking loudly enough for the entire crew to hear. "Your move took 5 seconds, Jackie. It looked beautiful. But in those 5 seconds, I could have struck you 3 times. While you were in the air, you had no control. You had no ability to defend yourself. You were committed to a trajectory that you could not change, making you completely vulnerable. My move took 1 second. You did not see it, and you did not have time to react. Now tell me, which is more impressive? The move that looks good, or the move that works?" Jackie's face burns with a deep, searing shame. He has been taught a public lesson in front of the very people he wanted to impress. But Bruce is not finished with him. "Come at me," Bruce says, And it's not a request, it's a challenge and an opportunity. Try to hit me. Use your acrobatics. Use your speed. Use every technique you believe is better than mine. Show me that your way is the way of the future. Jackie takes a deep breath. He's embarrassed, but he is also a competitive spirit. A part of him still believes that his youth and his specialized training can surprise the master. He attacks. He launches a spinning kick, fast and powerful, the kind of strike that has won him praise in every performance he's ever given. But Bruce is simply not there when the kick arrives. He is moved offline with a minimal, almost microscopic adjustment. Jackie recovers and tries a combination of punches. Bruce's hands move like water, redirecting each punch effortlessly, guiding Jackie's force away from him without needing to block with strength. Jackie tries a jump kick, reaching an impressive height. Bruce simply ducks, letting the kick sail over his head. Before Jackie's feet even touch the ground, Bruce is there. His hand touches Jackie's ribs, exactly where a real strike would have landed. He uses just enough force for Jackie to feel the impact, to understand that the fight could have been over in that heartbeat. 8 seconds have passed. In those 8 seconds, Jackie has thrown 6 of his best techniques, and every single one was avoided or redirected with insulting ease. Bruce has not struck back. He has only demonstrated proof of his superiority without resorting to violence. Jackie lands from his final attempt and stands there, breathing heavily. It is an exhaustion from the physical movement. It is the weight of a sudden, crushing realization. Everything he thought he knew about fighting, everything he valued about his flashy style, has just been proven insufficient in the face of true mastery. Bruce looks at him, but his expression isn't one of anger or mockery. It is the look of a teacher who has just seen a student finally begin to understand the lesson. Jackie, Bruce says, you are talented. You are very talented. Your acrobatics are beautiful and your athleticism is truly impressive. In the Peking opera, you would be the best. In stunt work, you will be highly successful. But do not confuse entertainment with effectiveness. Do not confuse what looks good with what actually works. Movies are a medium of illusion, but what I teach is warfare. We can use your flips in the film, and we will make them look amazing, but you must understand the difference. One is art, and the other is survival. The shame on Jackie's face is now total. He had claimed to be better, and he had been dismantled in less time than it takes to tie a shoe. His pride is shattered. His confidence is broken, and worst of all, he knows in his heart that he deserved it. He had spoken without thinking, claiming a superiority he had not earned. Tears well up in his eyes, not from any physical pain, but from the humiliation of his own arrogance being exposed so clearly. He does the only thing a true martial artist can do at that moment. He bows deeply, a traditional Chinese bow reserved for masters. "Zafu," he says, his voice shaking. "I apologize. I spoke without thinking. I was arrogant and foolish. Please forgive me." The entire crew watches this young man's ego being dismantled. Some feel sympathy for the kid, but everyone recognizes they have just witnessed a profound teaching moment. Bruce places a hand on Jackie's shoulder, his grit gentle but firm. "Apology accepted," he says. "But understand, Jackie, this was not about humiliating you. This was about teaching you. You have great potential. But that potential is wasted if it is filled with arrogance. You must empty your cup so that it may be filled with something new. Your acrobatics are a gift. Use them, but do not let them make you blind to what you do not know." Bruce then turns to address the entire crew. "Everyone here has skills," he says. "Everyone here has trained for years. But the moment you believe you know everything, you stop learning. The moment you think you are better than others without testing that belief, you become a fool." Jackie is young and he made a mistake, but he also had the courage to apologize. That courage is more valuable than any flip or kick. Filming resumes. The scene in the mirror room is shot, and Jackie performs his role with a new sense of purpose. He falls when he is supposed to fall. He takes the hits as choreographed, and he does his job with technical precision. But something fundamental has changed in the way he moves. The arrogance that had fueled his earlier performance is gone, replaced by a quiet humility and a hunger to learn. He watches Bruce Lee with different eyes now. He isn't looking for ways to be flashier. He is looking at the economy of Bruce's motion, The way he breathes, and the way he maintains absolute focus between takes. After filming wraps for the day, and the equipment is being packed away, Jackie approaches Bruce once more. He doesn't come with suggestions or ideas this time. "Sephew," he says, bowing again. "Would you teach me? Not for the movie, but for myself. I want to learn what you know." Bruce looks at the young man and sees a student who is finally ready. He sees that the cup has been emptied. "Come to my school tomorrow evening," Bruce says. "We will train. But understand this, I will not teach you to be like me. I will teach you to be a better version of yourself. You will always be Jackie Chan, the acrobat, the performer, the entertainer. But you can also be a martial artist if you are willing to do the work." Jackie bows a third time. "I will work," he promises. "I will work harder than anyone." Over the next month, in the brief time before Bruce Lee's tragic passing, Jackie trains with him on 3 separate occasions. They are short sessions because Bruce is busy with post-production and his own health struggles. But in those sessions, Jackie learns more than he had in years of traditional opera training. He learns about the economy of motion, about how to read an opponent's intentions, and about the vital difference between form and function. And Bruce learns as well. He sees that Jackie's unique acrobatic skills, when tempered with the principles of Jeet Kune Do, can create something the world has never seen before. When Bruce Lee dies in July 1973, Jackie is devastated. He has lost more than a movie star. He has lost a mentor who cared enough to correct him. In interviews decades later, when Jackie Chan has become a global superstar in his own right, he always tells this story. He tells it to remind himself and his audience that being impressive is not the same as being effective. Looking good is not the same as being good. True mastery requires the humility to realize you always have more to learn. "I was a cocky kid," Jackie often says. "Bruce could have destroyed my career that day. Instead, he destroyed my ego, and in doing so, he gave me the foundation to build something real." This story became a legend in the Hong Kong film industry the day the young stuntman challenged the dragon and was humbled in 8 seconds. It serves as a reminder that no matter how much talent you possess, there is always someone who knows more, always a deeper level of understanding to be reached. Jackie Chan learned the hard way in front of 40 witnesses, but it was the lesson that allowed him to become the legend he is today. He learned that talent without humility is a hollow shell. He learned that the most spectacular move is the one that achieves its goal with the least amount of wasted energy. The 8 seconds on Sound Stage 2 didn't just end a fight. They began a transformation. They showed that Bruce Lee's greatest strength wasn't his speed or his power, but his ability to see through the illusion of style to the truth of combat. He didn't just defeat Jackie Chan. He saved him from his own arrogance. He showed him that a martial artist is not someone who can perform a backflip, but someone who knows when not to. This philosophy of adaptability and realism became the core of Jackie's own approach to action. He realized that he didn't have to be another Bruce Lee. He had to take Bruce's principles and apply them to his own unique gifts. The legacy of that day lives on in every film Jackie Chan has ever made. Every time he uses an everyday object to defend himself. Every time he incorporates a clever bit of movement that prioritizes survival over looking like a traditional master, he is honoring the lesson he learned in 1973. He became the master of his own style because he had the courage to admit he was wrong. He realized that the greatest victory isn't found in destroying an opponent, but in the constant pursuit of self-improvement. The story of those 8 seconds is a testament to the power of a true teacher. A teacher who doesn't just show you how to hit, but shows you how to think. Bruce Lee knew that Jackie had the physical tools, but he needed to provide the mental clarity. He saw the potential beneath the bravado and decided to refine it. For the rest of his life, Jackie Chan carried that 8-second encounter as a badge of honor. It was the moment his cup was forcefully emptied so that his career could truly begin. He understood that the path to greatness is paved with moments of profound humility. You cannot grow if you believe you have already reached the ceiling. You cannot learn if you believe you already have all the answers. This is the essence of Bruce Lee's philosophy, and it was perfectly demonstrated in that short, wordless confrontation on a dusty film set. The crew members who were present that day saw more than a stunt. They saw the passing of a torch, even if they didn't realize it at the time. They saw a master recognize a successor and choose to give him the most valuable gift possible, the truth. It wasn't about who was faster or who could kick higher. It was about who understood the nature of reality. Bruce Lee's 1-second move was a physical manifestation of a life dedicated to stripping away the unnecessary. It was the ultimate expression of Jeet Kune Do. Jackie Chan's journey from an arrogant 19-year-old stuntman to a beloved global icon is inseparable from that morning in August. It was the day he stopped being a performer and started becoming a martial artist. It was the day he realized that the camera might love a backflip, but life demands something far more substantial. The legend of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan is often told as the story of two greats, but its most important chapter is the one where one of them had the grace to be a student. It reminds us that even the most talented among us are subject to the traps of ego. It reminds us that there is no shame in being corrected by someone who has traveled further down the path. In the decades since, thousands of martial artists have looked to this story for inspiration. They see in it the blueprint for true development. It's not about the number of techniques you know or how high you can kick. It's about your willingness to be proven wrong. It's about the strength it takes to apologize and the wisdom it takes to seek a teacher. Jackie Chan's career is a living monument to that 8-second lesson. He took the correction and used it to fuel a lifetime of innovation. He proved that Bruce Lee was right, that if you empty your cup, you can become something truly extraordinary. The impact of that day wasn't just on Jackie's career, but on the very nature of action cinema. It shifted the focus from rigid, stage-based combat to a more fluid, adaptive style that recognized the chaos of a real fight. It allowed for humor, for mistakes, and for the kind of creative problem-solving that has become Jackie's trademark. All of it can be traced back to the moment he realized his perfect forms were a cage. He broke out of that cage on Sound Stage 2, and in doing so, he invited the whole world to watch him grow. The story of the stuntman who laughed and then apologized is more than a piece of trivia. It is a lesson in the eternal value of humility. It shows that even a master like Bruce Lee considered himself a student of life, and that the only way to truly honor his legacy is to keep learning, keep adapting, and keep striving for a truth that exists beyond the flashy lights of the movie set. So when you watch Enter the Dragon today, and you see the young Jackie Chan briefly appearing on screen, remember that you are looking at a man in the middle of a life-changing epiphany. You are seeing the moment a legend was humbled so that he could eventually rise. You are seeing the power of 8 seconds to rewrite a destiny. It serves as a permanent record of a master's final gift to the future of his art. Bruce Lee gave Jackie Chan the truth, and Jackie Chan gave that truth to the world through a career that spans generations. That is the real magic of martial arts, not the ability to destroy, but the ability to transform, not the spectacle of a backflip, but the quiet dignity of a bow. The lesson of those 8 seconds remains as relevant today as it was in 1973. Empty your cup, be like water, and never ever believe that you have nothing left to learn. For it is in that moment of humility that true mastery truly begins. And as Jackie Chan would later say, everything he became, he owed to those 8 seconds of truth. It was the shortest fight of his life, but it was the most important victory he ever experienced, because it was a victory over himself. The arrogant stuntman died that day, and a martial artist was born. This is the legacy of the dragon, and the secret behind the enduring success of the man who had the courage to say, "I apologize." The narrative of Bruce Lee's life is not merely a collection of cinematic highlights, but a series of profound, reality-shattering confrontations that redefined the boundaries of human potential. While the world saw the choreographed brilliance of Enter the Dragon, a select few witnesses in an Oakland gymnasium in the mid-1960s saw a different kind of magic. On a warm afternoon in the East Bay, word had spread through the martial arts community that Bruce Lee was conducting a special demonstration. The rented gymnasium space was packed beyond its intended capacity, with witnesses estimating the crowd at between 400 and 500 people. They were a sea of young faces, many of them serious practitioners of judo, karate, wrestling, and boxing, all gathered to see the man who claimed to be breaking every rule of traditional combat. Bruce entered the space quietly, wearing simple black pants and a dark-fitted shirt, devoid of ceremonial belts or uniforms. He moved with a calm that signaled absolute readiness, his eyes processing the room with a calculating intensity. As he began to speak, the gymnasium fell silent, drawn to his voice, which was clear and direct. He spoke of the limitations of classical arts, emphasizing the difference between tournament practice and the raw reality of combat. He demonstrated fluid, explosive movements that seemed to defy the rigid forms known to the crowd, generating devastating power from almost no distance. But his most captivating message was philosophical, the idea being like water, adapting to the opponent rather than forcing a predetermined style. This peaceful demonstration was about to be interrupted by a physical manifestation of the very tradition Bruce was challenging. The atmosphere in the gymnasium shifted abruptly when a disturbance began near the back entrance. The crowd parted to reveal a large man, significantly bigger than Bruce, thick-shouldered and dressed in immaculate, formal kung fu attire. His expression carried a cold arrogance born of years of unchallenged certainty within the traditional systems. He walked toward the front with purposeful confidence, stopping 15 feet from Bruce as 500 people held their breath. The challenger spoke first, delivering a formal condemnation in Cantonese and English. He identified himself as a master of a traditional school with a lineage stretching back generations. He accused Bruce of disrespecting the ancient arts and of the audacity to teach sacred Chinese secrets to outsiders. The challenge was clear. If Bruce truly believed his way was superior, he had to prove it right then and there in a fight with no rules and no protective gear. Bruce's expression remained unchanged, manifesting an absolute calm that his senior students recognized as the stillness before decisive action. James, one of Bruce's senior students, later recalled that the tension in the room felt like a physical weight. This wasn't a sparring match. It was the old world attempting to put the new world back in its place. After a long moment of silence, Bruce responded with only 5 words, "If that's what you need." The challenger smiled with the predatory certainty of someone who believed they had already won. He removed his formal jacket with theatrical slowness, savoring the moment, while Bruce simply adjusted his weight and settled into a ready position that looked almost casual. His fingers were loose and relaxed, yet his posture was optimized for full speed and power. As they began to circle, the contrast in their philosophies became visible. The challenger moved in traditional patterns with formal footwork, while Bruce was fluid and unpredictable. The crowd pressed closer, hundreds of eyes locked on the two figures. The challenger feinted to test Bruce's reactions, but Bruce didn't flinch, his gaze fixed on the man's core where all movement originates. Then the challenger committed to a straight, powerful punch meant to end the confrontation immediately. What followed lasted only 8 seconds, yet it would be analyzed for the next 50 years. Bruce didn't move backward. He moved at an angle, slipping the punch by mere inches. He was already inside the man's guard, landing a strike on his ribs that produced a sharp percussive sound like a bat hitting leather. The challenger's breath exploded outward in a grunt of pain as his body jerked from the force. Bruce did not pause to admire the impact. His hands became a blur of motion, delivering a series of strikes with mechanical accuracy to the solar plexus, jaw, and temple, each hit connected with surgical precision, leaving the challenger unable to respond effectively. His traditional training screamed at him to counter, but Bruce was everywhere and nowhere, moving through the challenger's defenses like smoke. James noted that Bruce seemed to be reading the entire system, seeing several steps ahead of his opponent's intentions. 4 seconds in, the challenger's formal stance had collapsed, and his guard was fractured. The arrogance in his eyes was replaced by a look of sheer confusion and ragged breathing. Bruce struck again with a kick the man never saw coming, catching him behind the knee and causing the leg to buckle. As the challenger stumbled, Bruce delivered a straight punch with impossible speed, stopping at less than an inch from the man's throat. He held that position, his fist hovering at the windpipe, his eyes locked on the defeated master. The message was undeniable. I could end this, but I choose not to. The silence in the gymnasium was absolute as the challenger's hand slowly lowered. In 8 seconds, his entire worldview had been dismantled by the undeniable reality of Bruce's skill. Bruce withdrew his fist and returned to a neutral stance, barely winded, with only a thin sheen of sweat on his forehead. The challenger stood swaying, his pride shattered on the floor like broken glass. Finally, the anger drained from his face, replaced by a mixture of shock and respect. He spoke in a whisper, first in Cantonese, then in English. "I understand." These two words signaled a complete surrender of his physical and philosophical defense. Bruce then did the unexpected. He stepped forward and placed a hand gently on the man's shoulder in recognition. He told the man that while his tradition was honorable, it must serve the warrior rather than trap him in a cage. Bruce then addressed the 500 witnesses, explaining that his victory wasn't about one style defeating another, but about the freedom from rigid forms. The challenger didn't leave. He sat on the floor at the edge of the circle to watch and learn. James later reflected that Bruce had demonstrated total mastery of himself, transcending fighting to enter a realm of truth. The legend of Bruce Lee continued to grow, eventually leading to a secret encounter with another giant of the era, Muhammad Ali. In February 1972, whispers of a challenge began to circulate after a party in Beverly Hills, where Ali had joked about Bruce's kung fu magic. Ali, the heavyweight champion of the world, stood 6'3" and weighed 210 pounds of sculpted muscle. Bruce was 5'7" and 135 pounds, a man with no professional boxing titles but a reputation for speed that defied physics. Ali challenged Bruce to hit him with his best shot, promising to stand still and not block. Bruce accepted the demonstration on one condition, one strike only, then they were finished. The event took place at a private arena in Los Angeles, witnessed by 300 people from the boxing and martial arts worlds. As Ali stood in the ring, laughing and tapping his jaw, Bruce remained calm and focused. The referee reminded both men of the terms. Ali would not defend, and Bruce would have one attempt. When the arena fell silent, Ali spread his arms wide, exposing his torso and solar plexus. Bruce stood 3 feet away, his hands at his sides, completely relaxed. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. The crowd wondered if Bruce was reconsidering, but Ali saw something in Bruce's eyes that made his grin fade. Absolute, unbreakable focus. Bruce took a small step forward, closing the distance to 2 feet. Then, without a wind-up or a telegraph, Bruce's right hand moved with a speed that seemed to violate the laws of physics. His fist traveled from his side to Ali's solar plexus in a flicker. The sound was a sharp snap, like a whip. Ali's body didn't stumble backward. Instead, his knees buckled instantly. His arms dropped, his mouth opened as he struggled for air, and his diaphragm went into a total spasm. The heavyweight champion of the world sank to his knees on the canvas, short-circuited by a single perfectly placed strike. The 300 witnesses were frozen in disbelief, watching a man 75 pounds lighter drop the greatest boxer alive with what looked like an effortless tap. Ali remained on his knees for several seconds, leaning forward as he forced his lungs to restart. He later admitted to friends that while he had been hit by the hardest punchers in boxing, nothing had ever shut down his body as instantly as Bruce Lee's strike. This encounter reinforced Bruce's belief that precision and an understanding of human anatomy could overcome any physical advantage. He told Ali that he didn't strike his strength, but his vulnerability. This philosophy was forged years earlier in his most dangerous fight, the 1964 duel with Wong Jack Man. Behind the locked doors of a small school in Oakland, Bruce faced the traditional master because he had dared to teach non-Chinese students. The traditional community had sent a formal challenge: stop teaching outsiders or fight. Bruce laughed when he received the letter, but his techniques became sharper and more intense in the days following. When the day of the fight arrived, there were 10 witnesses present to see the clash between classical Northern Shaolin and Bruce's evolving system. The fight was far from the 8-second victories the world would later associate with Bruce. It lasted between 7 and 8 minutes. Bruce won decisively, eventually pinning Wong Jack Man to the floor, but he was deeply unsatisfied with his performance. He felt his techniques were inefficient and his conditioning was lacking. This dissatisfaction with the Wong Jack Man fight was the catalyst for the birth of Jeet Kune Do. Bruce realized that traditional forms were too complicated for real fighting and that he needed something simpler and more direct. He began a relentless pursuit of efficiency, studying Western boxing, fencing, and kinesiology. This evolution was on full display in July 1971 at Camp Pendleton, where Bruce was invited to demonstrate his methods to 1,000 United States Marines. Colonel James Morrison, a combat veteran with 30 years of service, was openly skeptical of Bruce's dancing moves. He believed that in a real war zone, only brute force and military doctrine worked. Bruce challenged the colonel to test that theory. In front of his troops, Morrison attacked with full aggression, but for 12 seconds he couldn't touch the smaller man. Bruce redirected the colonel's force, eventually controlling his head and pressing his face toward the dirt. Morrison stood up, red-faced but enlightened, acknowledging that military combatives could be improved by Bruce's principles of sensitivity and adaptation. The final proof of Bruce's impact lay in his relationship with champions like Joe Louis. Louis, a national karate champion with 32 consecutive victories, had once publicly dismissed Bruce as a showman. In 1967, Bruce invited Louis to his gym, not to fight, but to train. During their session, Bruce asked Louis to hit him with a single direct strike. Louis, an undefeated champion of massive power, found himself unable to even graze the man who moved like water. Bruce showed him that he was telegraphing every move, tensing his muscles in ways an experienced opponent could exploit. Humbled, Louis became one of Bruce's most dedicated students, evolving from a powerful fighter into a technically sophisticated champion. Whether it was on a movie set with a young Jackie Chan, in a gymnasium with 500 skeptics, or in a boxing ring with Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee's message remained constant. Empty your cup, be like water, and never stop learning. These moments of truth were his real legacy, proving that mastery isn't about the size of the warrior but the depth of their understanding.